Have you ever felt you don't know / have forgotten who you really are? That you've spent years just adapting to surroundings to make life easier and don't know what's the real you anymore? If so, how did you overcome this? Please subscribe, leave a like, comment and share the video to help the channel. Start reading into existentialism. It will help you realize we are never really this person or that person, but rather, in the words of Sartre, we are always in the process of becoming. This helps do away with the bad faith in finding myself, which so many of us feel we need to do, when in reality we always are in that process. So feeling lost is a state that will always come and go throughout life, just as much as feeling found or grounded will come and go. I always see it as outgrowing my former self. It's time to improve, find purpose, and move into the next chapter. This often happens once I finish a major step in life, like graduating college, getting my first job, buying and improving my house to my satisfaction, etc. Once I put life on potential autopilot to all the things I thought I needed. I need something else to be a mission / journey. Edit. Loving the responses. Can't respond to everything, but if you need to reach out, send me a message, not chat. Can't guarantee I can solve your problems, but I can hopefully leave you with some motivation and positive outlook. Might not be the answer you're looking for. It seems that when I'm alone with my thoughts at night, I can't help but come back to who I am, no matter what facade I put on during the day. This keeps me from forgetting for weeks at a time, let alone years, and I think it is actually a healthy habit, so that I don't lose touch with myself. There's probably no real you that exists across time. That's just a thing you built up when you were younger to give yourself a stable identity and core values. The you now is just as real as the you then. We all adapt to our surroundings and change to make our lives easier. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you're unhappy with your life now, you can adapt by changing. You need to believe that, and you probably know it, since it seems to be something you're afraid of. But this is the real you now, and you need to focus on the needs of that person, not some idealized phantom from the past. Best advice I have is this: when we experience things, we make maps of what happened. We all have maps of our time in school, how people treat us, all of our experiences. We also make maps about other people. We make assumptions about others, based on what we see or hear. We get maps from others about us too, especially friends and parents. What they tell us we are, what we think they see when they look at us, what we think they think about us, etc etc. People tend to focus on maps and label themselves, pigeonhole themselves into roles and what they think they should do, feel, or be based on the maps that they have. You are not a map. You are a 3D terrain of whatever beautiful biome you want to be. Don't stare at a map all day and forget to look up at what it really is. Edit. Holy cow. Typho medals. New to Reddit. First I've got many. Also edit. Fixed the X. Tile for pointing that typo out. I immigrated to the States from Europe and got lost. Now my memories of my life in Germany are fading, but I remember being so much happier with my job and hobbies and friends and only crying once or twice a year when something really sad happened. Well, now I cry once a week. I'm thinking about going back. Live alone. It forces you to decide what you like to eat, how you want to eat, how you spend your downtime. It forces you to define who you are. Sometimes that's a fast food eating couch potato, but eventually that gets boring. Then is when you begin experimenting with other things, cooking, going out, asking yourself, what do I want to do? When you learn who you are, you become confident. I majored in film in college, and it wasn't until my senior year that I realized I hated the work culture of the industry and didn't want to do it. Film had been my whole life, since I was like 13, and I had kind of an existential crisis. I ended up finishing the degree I didn't want, because I was so close. I ended up moving 1,000 miles away after graduation. I have a job I love, which gives amazing benefits, and they will even completely pay for me to go back to school if I want, so I might try that soon. I literally just started to notice progress in my life 3 weeks ago, so time will tell if this is a true solution or a temporary one, but I just started to try to care about things. I kept going to church, volunteering, trying to find new hobbies, considering people to date, etc. Eventually I began to realize which kind of things and people I cared about. Within my friend group I started gradually lowering my filter and saying more of what I thought, gauging reactions, and then instead of changing my filter, I shifted who I would spend more time with. It really sounds trivial, and it is, but all you can really do is try to be yourself, even if you don't know who that is. If you're like me and don't know, decide who you want to be and start working towards being that person. Also, give that ideal some wiggle room to change as you make progress. I've actually felt like my younger self didn't know who I was. I was shy AF, still am at bars, and in terms of dating, but never want to try and be outgoing with friends or start conversations or anything. Now I've danced in front of hundreds of people and announced on a microphone. I check dozens of people in at a hotel a day, so I'm always talking to someone new and do my best to make everyone smile. Just start caring about making yourself laugh instead of making others think you're cool or whatever. Don't be afraid to let out your inner dread wolf, my friend. I stopped in my tracks, and instead of looking around for validation, I looked inside. There's a lot of people out there, all with a different opinion, and that's all it is, an opinion. They're all different, and you're never going to be good enough for all of them. The only person that has to live with you 24/7 is you. So the best thing you can do is be good enough for you. Be the person you think is a good person. Make decisions that feel right to you. Look in your heart and make decisions based on how that makes you feel. At the end of the day, when life is over, you will do the dying. Nobody is going to die for you, so you might as well be the one that does the living too. So I just stopped looking at other people's opinions and started finding the answers in my own heart. Doing things that didn't make me a bit uncomfortable, just to make others accept me. You weren't put on this earth to be like others. You were put here so you could be you. Find who you are. It's a lifelong journey, and I've found more of myself than I could ever hope for. I'm confident enough now that I don't care too much about what others think of the choices I make, since they're not the ones who have to live with the aftermath of those choices. I am. On top of that, if you behave a certain way, make certain choices based on what others want, but not really what you want, you'll attract more people who like those choices, more people who agree with the choices you didn't even agree with yourself. If you make the choices you want to make, do things your way, you'll attract more people who are like you, and you'll feel much better. This world is never going to become a better place if nobody is willing to stand out, if nobody is willing to change, if nobody is willing to be different regardless of the opinion of others. This is the end of my novel. Thank you for your patience. When one is so lost, so down the rabbit hole, surrounded by a fluid and dangerous environment, things stripped away and reconstructed in response to others, how can one tell what is real at all, let alone what is really you? Sometimes, with the slipstream whipping away after face and tears, I get a glimpse. More I see how autistic I am, and how effectively adapted, how my mother contoured my life, how I have been loved, and how I have loved. But what is me? I seem to be a space where all this shows up, and I pretend, as does everyone, that some magic eye is actually in control. I did realize it, and it's just life changes you. As you get older, experience new things, get new stresses or responsibility, you kind of lose who you were and become someone new. Certain aspects change, but some things don't. The only part that is a bit, I guess, unsettling or empty is things that brought you so much joy you just find you don't care about anymore. It's harrowing, yes, but I just look forward to learning new things and seeing who I become. Example, I took up fishing. I have crippling OCD and the mere concept of it was off-putting to me, but now I love it. Took me over 30 years to try it, and now it's just part of who I'm now. I moved every couple years as a kid. It was always hard to remember who I really was, since it felt like there were a bunch of different versions of me depending on where I was living. It was like I wasn't really just one person, but just a bunch of different versions of me. It's something I still struggle with, but spending more time alone has helped a lot. Also, I don't see myself moving again anytime soon. since I'm in college, so I'm taking advantage of this time to really figure out my character. I didn't even realize how little I knew who I was until a friend asked about what my life was like before college, and I couldn't come up with just one answer. Instead of being my full self wherever I went, I adapted to the culture I was immersed in, and then got ready to change again once we moved to the next place. It was hard as a kid, but I was always pretty happy, no matter where I was, and now I have time to settle down a little bit. My C's just taught me about a mental exercise to help you figure out what makes you at the core. Imagine that you were born to a different set of parents, in a different location, family, and had different life experiences. What parts of you would still be the same? This is your core self. We all have a core, but have to put on layers as we get older and go through life's challenges. For me, I have always been playful, curious as hell, mischievous, persuasive, imaginative, and a dreamer. My parents said that's just how I came out, and when I do things to feed these core parts of me as an adult, that's when I experience real joy in life. Please subscribe, leave a like, comment and share the video to help the channel.